And for this session, we are going to have a little bit of fun. We are doing Overwatch heroes that I can beat in a fist fight. And some ground rules here. I'm saying in a fist fight, I don't actually care if this involves kicks. I don't care if this involves going to the ground. It does, however, not involve weapons. It also does not involve mechs. Now, the Omnics can't help it. They're robots. They're made out of metal, so they're going to have to be what they are, but Diva's not going to be in a mech. Wrecking Ball isn't going to be, the hamster Hammond isn't going to be in the mech there. So those are sort of the ground rules that we're looking at. Little bit of background about me. I'm a former contenders coach. That part doesn't matter for this, but what does matter for this is I do have black belt. I've done about 10 years of mixed martial arts. I've got multiple years. I've got 4+ years of varsity wrestling there. I am very capable when it comes to combat. That said, I am not in the prime of my life. And again, neither are some of these Overwatch heroes. So here we go. Does Temporal's ultimate come into play in the fight? That's a good question. That's a good question. My ultimate where I just ridicule them and tell them how poorly they're performing in that Overwatch match. And Reaper, what are you doing? You didn't hold your corner at all? That sort of ultimate? Maybe. Maybe. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the first hero here. So Reaper, it looks like, is first on our list. And Reaper is a really tough one because I just don't know enough about it. Maybe I've missed some of the lore here. Reaper is going to go into my WTF question mark category to start because, I don't know what's going on under that suit. How enhanced is he? Is he, in a really tough situation? We may move him later, but I really don't know what to do with Reaper for now, so he's going to go in our question mark category just to start things off. Then we move on to Widow. Obviously, she's had experimenting done on her, but the reality is the physical strength difference between men and women, what we're looking at here, I'm gonna win that one. Sorry, that's going to happen. Our biological differences there. Yes, I'll probably get canceled for that. Soldier's capable. He's had military training, don't get me wrong. He was definitely challenging in his day, but military combat training is not as effective as actual martial arts combat training as long as you're doing it in an effective style. And he is old at this point. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and call that a win. I could call that close win. It's not even anymore, I'm afraid. It never really would have been even, but I'm going to go ahead and call that one a win. Yes, you're still in good shape. You still do your cardio, soldier, but the reality is your muscles have deteriorated at this point. Your combat without weapons, without specifically being in, hey, it's going to be like this, isn't really going to work out for you. Then we move on to Mercy. There's no chance. Mercy can't win that one. I've got that. Same thing with Brig here. Brig is certainly a more capable fighter, I'd expect, than Mercy. But again, the difference there, the difference in testosterone and what that does for muscles, what that does in terms of lung capacity, bone structure, bone density, it's gonna be too much there. It can be a completely different story when weapons get involved, but we do not have weapons involved in this one. Diva with her mech would absolutely be terrifying and be no fair, but Baby Diva, no mech Diva, that's not going to be a problem. I'm going to win that one. He's probably doing too much cardio, honestly. He might be. He might be able to keep a little more muscle on there if he wasn't turning all of his fuel into, burning it all with that running there. So then we move on to Tracer, and we look at Tracer. Tracer is a small woman. Don't get me wrong, if she's allowed to use weapons, she'd be a problem. She's fast, but ultimately, you have to be able to hit me if you get close to me. I'm going to tie that up, a tie-up, where you go, hey, let's tie up like that, and from the tie-up, the upper body strength difference is just too much. That's not going to happen. Now, maybe she can blink out of that. She can't really get out of that. She sort of ceases to exist without that, but I'm pretty sure that I can land a decisive hit pretty darn quickly there. It's possible that Tracer, because of blinks, can make that tough. Maybe Tracer belongs in the close win category because Tracer can't really get rid of her ability to blink, can't put that down like a weapon. And there's certainly an argument for that of could Tracer wear me out? Could Tracer play a really long game and go anytime I go for a tie-up, she blinks out type thing. She comes in for a hit and then is able to get out and then I can't effectively chase her down. There might be an argument for that as I go into this further. But I still don't think so. I am still going to go with the win here. Like, Tracer is a small woman. It just does not work. That really is going to not have to hit very hard, not have to connect more than once to really just bring that fight into its close. Yeah. Okay. Next, we move on to Sombra. Sombra, no weapons, and you can definitely remove that. Remove that. She doesn't have any meaningful formal combat training. That's over. Let's jump around a little bit because I don't mean to just say that I can crush the entire Overwatch cast. I can't just crush the entire Overwatch cast. This is just how this landed here. Let's move on to get some things that are a little tougher. BAP I would probably call even. BAP likely has had some degree of basic combat training there, and he is also a fit, muscular, in his prime of his life dude. I would expect that to be trouble. I could definitely see that going either way. I do not expect that to be a clean win. Yes, my training is better than him, but he is going to be in better shape than me at this point, and that could be a tough one. Not gonna lie. As we move on here, Sigma. Sigma's another tough one. I'm gonna call that a close win. Sigma definitely has those rockin' shoulders. That's a problem. Don't get me wrong, but he did really skip leg day. That's not going great for him, and he really doesn't have meaningful combat training in any way, shape, or form. So, hey, those shoulders, bit of a problem. Don't get me wrong, that upper body strength definitely wouldn't want to tie up with him, but I'm pretty confident that our ability to go, hey, we're going under that for a double leg takedown, and then on the ground, I really don't care how strong you are. I'm going to go ahead and get past that and going to be able to break your rotator cuff, break your arm, whatever I need to do from there. That's not going to be too much trouble. So I'm going to call that one a win. I'm not going to call that a far and away win, but I am going to go ahead and call that one a win. If we're strictly limiting this to a fist fight, we've got to stand there with, our heels against a line and go, no, we're just punching each other. That might not go my way. I mean, he's got some strength there. Okay. Next, we're going to move on here. Who else can we grab? I'm also going to call Cassidy even. Cassidy, I'm sure, knows how to play dirty. It would be amazing to me if he hasn't gotten into some degree of fistfights, and I don't think we can really get rid of his arm. Again, my training is going to be better than him. He's not in the greatest shape of his life. He'll have that smoker lung going on there. There's some things that can definitely work, but not being able to get rid of what is effectively a metal hand and effectively having a weapon locked on there makes that fight challenging. Certainly doable. It's, a blunt weapon that we're talking about, and it's a blunt weapon that you can't get the biggest windups on, but that one is going to be challenging. It's not going to be challenging to the degree that something like, say, let's get ourselves an Omnic, Bastion is, where I just can't win that fist fight. Look at Bastion and, hey, I can punch you all I want. It's not happening. You are made of metal, and your fists really hurt. Unless you're extremely awkward or have broken joints, that's not going to work, and you're going to crush me. How is Cassidy even, but literally like a roided up Super Soldier 76 is an I win? Because metal hand. Literally because metal hand. Okay. So another one that we go, hey, Winston is not an Omnic, but I can't win that one. I know I can't win that one. That monkey is too smart. More importantly, that monkey is too strong. That's not happening. I'm going to get crushed. Okay. May is going to be in the I win category. We've gone over this before. She's not particularly tall. She does not have the level of muscular strength, testosterone, all those things, some disadvantages when it comes to unarmed physical combat in male versus female. That's just not going to work for her. Much the same thing is going to happen with Farah here. Torb, Torb, you've tried to be the best version of yourself that you can, but you're really short, you're relatively small. Like, yes, you've put on some muscle there, but you're really short. That is going to hurt you. Now, it can be a challenge in some situations, but the range difference when it comes to some of this stuff is a problem. We could say, oh, hey, it's hard because, does he get the hook arm, that sort of thing? And that could be a little bit of a problem, but it's really a bigger disadvantage for him than it is for the Cassidy here. I could, I suppose, because of that metal arm, put this in close win. Let's go ahead and put this in close win here. Temporal is a bad loser. There's no tier for I lose, but it wasn't unfair as such. No. I mean, there will be. I'll put Omnix no fair. I'll put things that can really beat me, like Winston, that aren't Omnix, and Omnix no fair. Don't worry about it. Okay, Symmetra, much the same issue. We've gone over the issue that Symmetra and Ash are going to run into. I'm not putting these in order within their tier in terms of like, oh, Ash is probably a more challenging fight. Soldier's probably the most challenging fight that we've seen in this tier. I'm not actually putting these guys in order in here. I say as I start to put them in order. Okay. Moving on to Junkrat. Junkrat is not going to have a good time. Junkrat has pretty good mobility in Overwatch, where he can use mines to move himself around, but the guy has a peg leg. The guy has a peg leg. He's not actually going to be able to move around very well. Yes, any sort of low kick to his other leg is going to be very problematic for him. It's not going to work terribly well, and yes, you can swing that thing around, but again, that's not the level of danger that you'd run into from some other thing. So this one is just reality. Junkrat might be wild and crazy with explosives. Without explosives, really not much danger there. The guy looks like he hasn't eaten in a week. Pretty much. Okay, I actually went over my credentials to beating these superheroes at the beginning of the stream here. So you'll be able to take a look at the end and go see what that was. No, Junk does not get any nades. No one gets weapons, guys. The exception to not getting weapons is situations where Bastion is an Omnic. He can't stop being made of metal. Cassidy's hand is made out of metal. Torb has a claw hand. Junkrat has a peg leg. Like, those things don't go away, but people are not getting to go, hey, I'm getting to fight in full armor as Brig, or fight in full armor as Reinhardt, or, come to the match with a knife if you're Genji, that sort of thing. Now, Genji still gets to use his body, which has a lot of metal, but that's what we're looking at. Speaking of which, nope, the ninjas got me. I'm not taking that one. The ninjas got me. Can't get rid of a lot of that metal. Definitely trained in terms of combat, even unarmed combat. That's going to be something that I go, hey, it's all yours. Moira, weird experiments, but that one's still going to be a win. We've talked about that before. Lucio's not going to have his skates, guys. This is a fist fight that we're talking about. So he's not going to be able to do the wall riding shenanigans to get away. Tracer only even had that sort of thing because Tracer can't exist without it. Just warps away to another dimension. That doesn't really work. Lucio is in reasonable shape, but Lucio's short. Like, Lucio is short, and he's not a particularly large person, and there's a reason that we have weight classes in fighting. Lucio's not really going to be able to keep up with that. It's not like he's instantly going to get crushed as hard as, say, Mercy might get crushed here, but Lucio's not going to have a particularly good time without skates there. Like, it sucks, but being small really is a disadvantage in a fight. That's how reality works. Temporal Scarf is absolutely a weapon. Shh, they don't need to know that. They don't need to know that. They'll think it's an unopposing, just part of the costume. Just like, May's got some fur here. Like, yeah, no, it's just part of the costume. And then, huzzah, choke him out with it. No. Okay, moving on. Lucio's a throw pick for fist fighting too. It's true, Blah. It's true. So next, we're going to move on to Anna. And I don't think I need to explain this one. Anna is old at this point, similar problems to Soldier, plus she doesn't have that testosterone working in her favor. Even that testosterone that is mostly faded at that point, that's not going to be a good match for her. She's smart, she's going to be lethal with a weapon, she's not going to be particularly effective in unarmed combat at her age. Hammond, you're a little bit annoying, Hammond, don't get me wrong. You're in this situation where, hey, you can bite things, and that's annoying, but you're not very big. Your teeth are the only thing that are really remotely scary, and humans can do that too. It's mostly going to be a range thing of, hey, kicks do work. And am I going to have to accept getting bit potentially? Yeah, absolutely. But you're not going to hold on when you take that kick, etc. So that one's going to go there. Again, the mech would completely change things, but no mechs in this situation. Echo, that's an Omnic. That's terrifying. We don't want to deal with Echo. Like, I mean, no, Echo's gonna just be like made of metal effectively. We're not going to be winning that anytime soon. Much the same thing with Zenyatta. Um, Hanzo's tough. Hanzo's a tough one. I'm gonna put Hanzo in even. Um, Hanzo clearly knows how to fight. If you look at Hanzo's melee animation, that is an effective strike that he's doing there. It's not surprising, given his relation to Genji, that he's done some form of martial arts there. He is a, you know, reasonably aged male that knows how to fight, and like all of these superheroes has a quite fine body, muscles, everything, etc., in very good shape, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna put this here. It's possible that I should move him up a category. It's possible. He's not really in as good a shape as like Baptiste there from what we've seen in terms of the build, but I am going to go ahead and put him in this category. It's possible that I should put that up in the I lose category, but I'm going to leave that there for now. Okay. Well, Hanzo would destroy me with a bow, sure, but not necessarily without. Okay. Moving on. Orisa, obviously, that's gonna just destroy me. Nothing I can do about that. That's a robot. Roadhog, that's not a robot, but the weight difference is just too much. Yes, Roadhog is going to be slow, but Roadhog, if we actually have to fight in some way, we actually have to have some degree of a fight here. Like, yeah, Roadhog would never catch me without Hook, but if we actually have to fight, just like, if we actually have to fight with some of these people down here, I'm going to lose that. The size difference is just too much. There is no, oh, I'm going to whittle you down like this and get it. No, you have to be too perfect for too long to do anything along those lines. I'm going to lose. It's not happening. Doomfist is going to bait me. Doomfist is not an Omnic. I am not counting the gauntlet there, but even without Doomfist, we've seen what Doomfist can do. I have no belief that that would remotely go my way. That's fine. We'll deal with it. That's going to be a tier above what we've seen from these three. Then we go ahead and move over to Reinhardt. Reinhardt, same thing as Roadhog, except greater degree of muscle. Little older, sure, but greater degree of muscle. It's not happening. That's a giant. Nope, that's not happening. I'll take that. And then Zari is going to defy the rest of her gender. And, we're looking at a, international weightlifting champion there. Yes, technique is fantastic. Other attributes are fantastic, but ultimately having the strength to do that and having the endurance to keep that strength going to any degree, which she clearly does, is going to be the end of me, and I'm not winning that one. So that's what I'm doing for the tier list here. I'm sure some people are going, what? There's no way. You have vastly underrated some of these superheroes. And other people are going, what? Why are you worried about Torb? He's tiny. So, you guys can definitely have your thoughts here. I'll catch up on chat now, but I did want to go ahead and get through the tier list here since I knew people would enjoy this one. Temp lost to a girl. Oh, to that one? Absolutely. Doomfist has one artificial arm, but it looks like a normal arm. Does Doomfist have the artificial arm under the gauntlet? I thought it was the gauntlet that went on top and that he had a real arm there. But if Doomfist doesn't have that, if Doomfist has to use the fist, I lose either way. If Doomfist actually doesn't have an arm, if we take that away, then it's not really fair to take it away, just like we didn't take it away from Cassidy or Junkrat there, or Torb, so we'll deal. The even tier is a bit suspect. It might look that way, but you have to remember that, These two do not have meaningful formal training. I expect Hanzo has some degree of formal training, but these two do not have any degree of formal training, and it really does make a difference. Actually, having had formal training, like, yes, I'm sure BAP has had some level of basic, like, here, we're going to, for 4 hours or for a week, teach you how to do basic military combat training. That is not the same thing compared to, hey, do 10 years of martial arts in styles that are effective combat styles, not in styles that are pretty styles or show off styles, or, okay, we're going to focus our intercom styles, like effective combat styles. That really does make a difference. There's a reason that there are places where you can send out kids out to beat up adults and they'll be fine. There are reasons that you can send women out to beat up men and they can do it when they've been trained and the man hasn't. Now, once the man has had basically any meaningful amount of training, it can pretty easily eclipse a woman, even one who's had significant amounts of training. And that would just be, another example of how this all works. But training when it comes to meaningful combat styles really does make a difference. And these two really haven't had it. I expect Hanzo has had some, not to the degree of Genji from what I can tell, but I do expect that he has had some based on what we can see of him. He said 76 is old. True. And temporal greater than old roided out boomer. It's true. Don't underestimate the Glockster. She knows how to bring you back to life, but she sure as heck knows how to take you out of it. I don't doubt it, but the reality is her physical prowess is not going to be adequate for that. Sigma's a lover, not a fighter. Temporal very closely inspected this abs and compared them to Bap Hanzo and himself and found Sigma lacking. Okay. Take another look. 7-foot Ryan probably wins. Agreed. I am a tall man, but I am not 7 feet tall. I am not in the NBA. Okay. Interesting how there are several non-combatants, Mercy, Sombra, Mei, Zenyatta, in the cast of Overwatch heroes. True. But they get weapons. They have tools that they've used to propel them. And that's fine. Like, these women are much more capable here. Many of these women in this tier are much more capable of fighting with weapons, and that is absolutely doable. That becomes a great equalizer. Okay. Zen should probably be an I win. I mean, I could because he's a pacifist, but, like, if Zen is actually going to participate in the fist fight, like, how am I going to beat Zen? Unless there's some joint that's weak or something that I can break off, like, how am I going to beat Zen? My hands are made of flesh and bones. My feet are made of flesh and bones. I can use my forehead. I can use my shin. I can use some of the harder bones in the body and go for, oh, this will work. It's still not going to work, and I'm going to be hurt more than him. So, like, I don't see how I could win that one without tools in play. And we're not having weapons unless maybe if I had some sort of artificial arm or something, that would be an option, but I don't think it is right now. Lucia would have fighting experience from fighting with people who insist on terrible song requests during DJ sets. Maybe. Farrah would clobber you, let's be honest. No, she wouldn't. I mean, she's had military training, don't get me wrong. She worked for a security force, so she'll have had a similar level of training to what I expect a BAP type would have had, which is, hey, they've done a few hours, maybe a week of, maybe they did some in their academy. They've effectively done some very basic combat training. It does not compare to what you get from doing decades of combat and it really ingraining in you. Yeah, it's really not comparable. Okay. Picturing Temp against a Grandma in a fist fight makes me happy. I hear you. Okay. Next vid, Overwatch Heroes versus Master Chef in a 1v1. That could be fun. Okay. There we go. Soldier 76 is old, but he's also had Captain America like drug enhancements. He has, but not to that degree. Captain America's physical strength enhancements were, like the upper limit of, what can be done there. Soldier 76 does not seem to be quite that level of superpower. Don't get me wrong, he does that cardio, but he does not have that physical strength with his with his gray hair here to go, oh yeah, let me go ahead and push a tank out of the way, that sort of thing. We don't see a ton of evidence of that sort of thing. Let me pick up a truck, that sort of thing, which we would see even from a Captain America there. Where do I put pre-Cyborg Genji? I'd have to know how much training pre-Cyborg Genji had done. I don't know. Pre-Cyborg Genji may still live up here due to, having been in better shape than I'm currently in, as well as having had enough combat training. I don't know how much of his combat training he had when. So if he'd had less combat training, he could move down here and even here. I doubt he moves here. I kind of doubt he moves here. I expect he'd continue to live here. Okay, that's gonna go ahead and do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll keep this one short because I think people enjoy it as a video as well. Thanks, guys.